let's see here. If we do that, then, which sounds fun, I will get out this particular spot. Oh, you will definitely get horses.
Yes.
And so I know the rule that says you get horses. Cool. So here are some things that you should know. You will choose, first of all, you don't all have to be from there, but for the characters who will be from there, you will choose your more or less your exact. Here you go. Let's begin. We already read the meditations, altar of spit and ale, free riding, storms, that stuff. And now you will each have the ability called horse friends. Okay? And so then we will look up what the ability can do for you. But right now you will just write down, if you are playing a character from here, horse friends.
Yeah. I'm thinking about maybe having some of a Frein.
Okay, someone, sure. Yeah, so let's wait on for you just a moment, okay? And then we also have, for the people from this culture, you will choose one of these. So, Wake of the Storm Gods. That means that you, as the player, can restore one of the resources you have lost. Okay. It's called Resolve, and a storm comes into the story. So basically, when your character gets more resolute, we see lightning crack behind them, and it's part of the story that there's a big storm. Cool. Yeah, and that can be a useful thing too. Oh, yeah. It's not just atmosphere. So then there's, or you can be somebody called an Eponus, who finds it easier to be with horses than people and are very, very connected with horses and operate. You are a horse whisperer.
Yeah.
Right?
So
super rider, and
I would guess horse friend sounds more. It's like you have knowledgeable, and most horses will probably like you. But with that, you can make them do whatever you want.
Exactly. Now, with horse friends, the important thing is that if you are riding or dealing with horses, you are allowed to re-roll your die by exhausting the ability. Yeah. It's called. And then with Eponus, you will get another ability called Bond of Souls with a particular horse, which has lots of little features. And then you also can communicate and deal with other horses very easily. So yes, exactly. Then finally, so you would either pick Wake of the Storm Gods or Eponus or something called Remembrance. And the history from this people is an age old of suppression and slavery. Yeah. So they hate all that. And they will, so they're really kind of brutally, culturally angry. And so if you have this particular ability, then you can get bonuses to willpower, and you get a couple of other bonuses in ethnic conflicts.
You can't break me.
That's right, exactly. So you would choose the people who are taking those. You both get horse friends, and then each of you will choose one of those.
And we can choose the same if we want to.
I suppose so, yes. Although I like to see more mechanics than less. But
I will take front, and I will want the storm.
The Wake of the Storm Gods.
Yeah, I want Exponia or what?
Yeah, Eponus. Yeah, with the horse.
I guess he took that name from the Celtic god of Epona.
I suppose so.
Yeah,
I mean,
it sounds
he is pulling. I've noticed that his vocabulary. I don't mean to sound patronizing, like I'm the expert, but his vocabulary for these things is pretty good.
Yeah,
he's drawing mostly on mythological and language sources.
And that makes it easier to approach.
Right.
I recognize the name.
Yeah. It's not just fantasy names from the 80s,
no.
You know.
Wake of the Storm. No?
Yeah, Wake of the Storm Gods. Yeah. So we will go back to those meditations later. I will make your sheet for you. And then now we are going to go through the fascinating process. Well, meanwhile, Nate, why don't you think a little bit about where you want to be from? Those guys are great. Yep. Those guys are great. Those are the characters that I was making up. And you get some really screwed up guys. They're really fun. Okay, so good.
Our local wizard.
Yeah, well, or something. So here's sort of the terrifying part, are all these horrible long tables and things. And in little teeny tiny writing, okay? Which is enough to make your brain break. But so,
that's kind of
to find us, we are here at Hrekan, right? So there's those. And then there are also the general upbringings, which begin there. And to be very brief, Freken upbringings include just having the nomad culture is fine. But you could be a skykeep shaman. You could be a horse lord or an elder. Then there's a special status called Temujin, which we can look up.
Oh, so I know the name.
Okay.
Temujin is the first name for Genghis.
Oh, perfect.
So it's probably a warlord
Right,
of some kind.
Right. So then we can look at those. Then the general upbringings are mostly things that you will recognize as basic cultural things. You could be an apothecary or a courtesan or an assassin or a ranger. I mean, anything like that. And there are many of them. Some of them are pretty intense and plot-oriented, like tragic
and all
figure.
those are the general?
Yes.
Holy
yes.
moly.
And so you, for example, could choose to be a member of the Circle Arcane, which is centered in one of the ruined cities of Thrace.
Yeah.
And so that means you have connections to the Circle of Arcane and have studied there. So there's ways to make your character a little more than just one nomad by looking at the general upbringings. Or you can find things. You could make yourself, for example, an arcane exile. You could be a spy or an urchin, a little kid. All sorts of things. An innocent maiden. Maybe you have. These are called upbringings, but they're kind of like life paths, things that have taken up some of your life. So each of you will get 3 of them.
Yeah.
I
guess that was.
So while you two look at those, then Nate and I will talk a little bit.
Yeah.
So we are talking about Thrace, perhaps?
Yeah. Is it called Thrace?
I don't know.
It's spelled like Thrain.
Oh, it's Thrain. Never mind. The culture is Thrace.
All right.
So that's what I've written it a few times today. So.
Was it one of these and 3 of the generals?
No, 3 total.
We can have 3 of these.
No, 3 total.
Yeah, but
and
I
then
can
of
have
those, you have to be careful because you can only have one of that culture.
One of the culture and then 2 of the generals.
Right, but I think you can.
Or are it the 3 ranks?
Free ranks are for skills. Don't worry about it.
Okay, we don't care about
At the moment, I'm going to say, instead of trying to explain the rule to you because my brain will fall apart, just be sensible and pick up the names that make sense. And
but I cannot choose
you can,
3 of the culture.
I don't think so. I think
it would be mixed.
Yeah, I think that typically going with 1 or 2 of those.
Yeah, and then a couple of generals. Yes.
And so here we are. For Thrace, which is a little bit complicated, you, first of all, you would be choosing what region you were from, and there are several. The Zyphi, down in the bottom there, is it's a city of the dead that is full of rituals and ghosts and stuff like that. Karales is the center of decadence, and is charming and corrupt and rich. And then Draith is where the great libraries are, and where they are studying anything and everything. And then Ivgim is it's called the City of Secrets and the City of Alchemy. So it's another kind of science and sorcery city. Basically choose your magic, sort of thing, or be a trader like like crime boss or other kind of fascinating corrupt merchant. And there's the Hundreds, which is that's an area with it's kind of like Ireland. There are all these teeny tiny little places, and they're all ruled by one person. Each one has a ruler.
What about this place called Tremel?
Let me see.
Right. There is one over there. Seems to have the same color as
the
other ones.
Yeah. I am not entirely certain. I don't know the map that well. I just want to make sure it's not part of Avergar by accident.
But otherwise, then is it a science kind of?
Okay, sounds good.
Fine wine.
Yes. And so the interesting thing first is to tell you the meditations, right?
All right.
Right. Decadent dishes and Thracian wine. My labyrinthine city, twisted and debauched.
Wait, say that again?
My labyrinthine city, so full of mazes,
Yeah.
and twisted and debauched, so corrupt and sensual, full of sex and drugs. And then speaking to the dead and works of great artisanship. So those are the meditations for that culture. And then if we take you to Xife, we discover first of all that you will have the ability, the pride of Thrain,
All right.
which means that you are from this ancient culture, and unlike every other person in the game, you get 5 experience points for free.
Oh,
That's cheating.
Yeah.
I heard that.
Well, what you expect? You are riding around on a horse, and he's living in the heart of decadent history and urban history. So then, from Xife, we have two abilities. One you can choose. So Gravekin, and that would give you the ghost friend ability. You would be sort of a friend to ghosts and be able to connect with them, and they follow you and talk to you.
all right.
Or Spirit Word, which means that it doesn't mean you're connected to ghost, but it means that internally you are going to have a very powerful spirit. Basically, in a spirit check, which there are 2 kinds of damage, grit and spirit. In a spirit check where you're going to take damage, if you roll a 1, which is a fumble, for you, treat it as a success. Because you are just so centered in your spirit that for when you hit bottom, you actually discover it's your strongest time. So you cannot fumble a spirit check
Skip those. No.
if you take that one. So
We have a lot of choices.
Strong spirit or the ability to speak with the ghosts.
pretty cool, actually. So,
More lore powers and will powers.
Well, certainly where we're going, speaking with the ghosts might be a fun
yeah, true.
choice.
Okay, so you would say Gravekin.
Yep.
And then you would have the Ghost Friend ability.
Gravekin, Ghost Realm.
And we will deal with some of those other things later. So those are some basics. Let's look at a couple of other things that you need to know. You also have the option, and I think I should talk to them too, to have the First Blood ability if you want. The First Blood ability is
More
here.
choices.
Yes, yeah. Oh, this is nothing. I told you this. We are busy tonight.
Okay. Yes.
So First Blood means that the first of all peoples. You have
Is that an upbringing?
It's not an upbringing. It's an ability
It's
that
an
you
ability.
may take by being Kraken. Okay, and you are able to. Well, first of all, you will gain the Grim Destiny Blight. So that means you will be blighted to start the whole game. And second, you have a connection to the land and can actually learn about the history of an area and feel its power
Therefore, the
just by
blights-
being there,
Oh.
right? So you also get a little reroll.
Stop giving me good choices.
I know. So if you want the First Blood, take it. But guess what? You are starting to run before you walk, and that's okay. So you have a similar choice in that you have the choice to have the golden blood of the Jasur kings.
Just a
Ooh, that sounds kind of snazzy.
No, they all sound fun, actually. That's the problem, as he says. There's a lot of choices. Fortunately, none of them are bad. They are all troublesome. So here, you would have one of your skills, when you get them, will be intensified and higher than it would otherwise be. Okay? And then second, as you are golden-blooded, you can treat that as an ability and exhaust it, and you will just have a windfall of good fortune, now or soon.
We're picking that up.
Okay, you are going to have the golden blood of the Jasur kings.
The golden blood of the Yasser Kings.
Yeah, or you can just write golden-blooded as your ability is fine. As you can see, the game takes some pleasure with its elaborate language.
Yeah. The golden blood.
Oh, yes.
It sounds very, very...
kind of hard not to be arrogant.
Kind of.
You have an intensified skill and 5 extra experience points. So, it's not so bad. So then you will then be looking at your own upbringings.
Do I write down the 5 extra experience points here somewhere? Or?
They're right down in the corner.